This is one of the greatest choreographers in the world. He can create movement that is breathtakingly beautiful. He can suggest passion, longing, love. He can excite laughter simply through movement. His name is Frederick Ashton. And in 1926, seeing his very first ballet, Ninette de Valois congratulated his teacher, Marie Rambert, on having discovered a real choreographer. His inspiration was Pavlova, whom he saw dancing this ballet in South America when he was a child. It was his first visit to the theatre, and also his first opportunity to ride in a motor car.
We went in a motor car to the performance, and my other brothers were only interested in the car drive and was longing for the performance to be finished in order to get back into the car. And I just accepted the car as nothing and as a means of getting there, and I wanted the performance to go on forever. And that's how I first saw her. Then I used to found out what hotel she was staying at, and I used to go and stand outside and watch her getting into a carriage, which she did with wonderful grace and fascination.
How old were you at that time?
I suppose I must have been about 10, 12, I don't know, something like that. Quite young.
And did you really go home and think, that's what I want to do?
Obviously, yes, I think I did.
Ashton has never forgotten the impact of Pavlova's personality and the grace and plasticity of her dancing. Her memory has inspired him.
She, as it were, started the whole thing off. I mean, she injected me with the poison, as it were, and I never looked back from that.
One of his dancers once said fondly, "We still get what he saw of Pavlova thrown at our heads." He's still apt to run across the rehearsal room and say, "Oh, none of you can run like Pavlova." Frederick Ashton's achievement has been enormous. His choreography is the basis of the English style of dancing, and he has created more than 50 major works for the Royal Ballet and the companies from which it grew. He is a very private man. This is the first time that he has allowed film cameras to observe him at length, both at home and at work. Ashton's parents lived in South America and had no professional connection with the ballet, theatre, or music. It was a severe and formal household, dominated by the daunting figure of his father, a businessman. What did his parents make of his ambition to be a dancer?
Well, they didn't know anything about it because, I mean, I didn't dare say it. I mean, my father would have been absolutely horrified. And I doubt if my mother would have been too pleased either. So I never really said anything about it till after I left school and after my father died. Meanwhile, if my father had lived, I never wouldn't be sitting here, because he was very strong-willed and he would never have tolerated it. And even my mother, when finally she conceded, and people say, well, what does he want to do? She said she couldn't bring herself to say he wants to be a dancer. She would say he wants to go on stage. It seemed to her more, I don't know, right.
As a young man, Ashton longed to be on stage. Here he plays one of the ugly sisters in Cinderella, seeking advice from the other, Robert Helpman, about the steps that ought to come next. He was sent home to England for most of his schooling. He arrived still nursing his secret ambition and speaking English with a slight Spanish accent. His years at an English public school were not very happy. Then, at his mother's instigation, he was put to work in the city to learn the import-export business. He was not much good at it.
When I did my first bit of business, I lost the firm £1,000, so that I was called before all these distinguished old boys, and they were reprimanding me for carelessness and everything else. And I suddenly turned around. I was longing to get the sack, so I suddenly turned around to them and I said, well, gentlemen, the money is lost. What are you going to do to retrieve it? And they all, practically blew me out of the door. And that was it.
And then?
Well, then my mother by that time had come home, and so I pressed for the fact that I wanted to be able to go to a class every day. And one of my brothers, who was doing quite well, said that he'd pay for my tuition on condition I didn't go into a chorus, because chorus boys had a rather bad name in those days.
So with the rather grudging goodwill of your family, you did in fact start?
Yes.
What age were you when you started?
I should think about 19, really, when I started regularly.
So very late?
Very late. Very late indeed.
Did you find it enjoyable to dance?
Yes, always. I adored dancing.
Did you want to be a good dancer?
Yes, I wanted to be a good Nijinsky. Of course, a ludicrous idea, but that's what I would. I wanted to be a dancer much more than a choreographer. I wasn't interested in that at all first, till Rambert pushed me into it.
Marie Rambert's ballet club was the cradle of ballet in England. Here, in 1932, Ashton partnered Alicia Markova in a ballet he called Foyer de Danse. On this tiny stage, performing in front of a handful of people, Sir Frederick Ashton learned his craft. It was here that British ballet was born, and if Rambert was its midwife, Ashton was its natural parent. Marie Rambert, a remarkable and cultivated woman, encouraged, guided and lovingly bullied the young Frederick Ashton. She once described him as passionately lazy.
One has the impression that she brought something out of you, which you in a sense didn't know was there, and that sometimes in your life you've needed somebody to bring something out of you. Is that true?
Yes, I think so. I think I needed prodding quite a lot.
Do you still?
Yes. Yes.
What do you do when you're not making ballets?
Stare, sit and stare, smoke, and read a certain amount, of course, and amble round the garden. But I have a very contemplative side, and I can get out there on that terrace and sit there from sunset till practically sunrise. And people say to me, oh, but of course you're thinking out wonderful things. I said, not at all. I mean, I'm just in a state.
Where do ballets start? Do they start with a story or a theme, or?
Well, can start with anything. I mean, they can start with a theme, a story, or a piece of music, and then you fit a theme to it. Mostly, in my case, I think they start from the music. If I don't like the music, well, it's no good at all. I've got to absolutely be engrossed by the music and really delve into it and really learn it and study it. And then the curious thing is that once the ballet's had its first night, I never want to hear that piece of music again. It's like a sort of dead love affair.
Love, wit, joy. Characteristics of an Ashton ballet, and nowhere more clearly revealed than in La Fille Mal Gardée, one of his masterpieces. From his earliest years, Ashton has always possessed a great ability to amuse. His impressions are famous. He can also impersonate most of his friends and colleagues with or without props. At the ballet club, everything was elegant, improvised, and entertaining. Ashton created a stream of ballets on a shoestring. But the stage was only 18 feet wide, and there was only one performance each week. Ashton felt the need to look for greater professional opportunities. With this in mind, he went to audition for a newly formed company in Paris, where he came into contact for the first time with a great choreographer, Nijinsky's sister. Ashton watched all Nijinsky's rehearsals and danced in her ballets. Had her work impressed him?
Oh, yes, she was a tremendous influence on me. She, I mean, she really taught me how to work. She also increased my vocabulary of movement. I mean, I admired tremendously the qualities that she had in movement and the plasticity of her. All that was to me something of a revelation which I'd never seen before. And I was then very young and, of course, in a sponge-like attitude, so I really absorbed everything that there was to get from her. I got, really. And she was wonderfully kind to me and patient and encouraging. And so it was really, although it was a very hard time, it was also a great pleasure and privilege, really, to have had this association with her.
When he returned to England, some of his work showed traces of Nijinsky's influence. But it was also at this stage that he managed to create his first original and long-lasting success, Facade. Alicia Markova created the polka in Facade, and she was also the star of Les Rendezvous, the first major work which Ashton choreographed for the infant Vic Wells Ballet Company, founded by Ninette de Valois. Constant Lambert arranged the music for that Ashton ballet and for many others. He became one of Ashton's closest professional associates.
He educated me musically tremendously and guided my musical taste. Maynard Keynes said about him that he was the most potentially brilliant young man he'd ever met. And he was indeed that, because I mean, not only was he a wonderful musician, but he was expert at painting. He knew all about painting, his father having been an artist. He'd suffered from several injuries in his childhood, so he'd read everything. So he was a completely rounded figure and a fountain of knowledge. And with it all, I mean, the most wonderful sense of fun and humour. And then when he was in the pit, I mean, he was an inspired conductor with this tremendous vitality that he had. I mean, all this was a tremendous uplift.
Lambert and Ashton, seen here with Lord Berners, collaborated musically and artistically on many, many ballets. It was Constant Lambert who declaimed the nonsense narrative of A Wedding Bouquet through a megaphone. Constant Lambert selected and arranged the music for Apparitions, in which Ashton alternated with Harold Turner as the hussar. Lambert advised on and conducted Nocturne, in which Ashton danced with Margot Fontaine. And Lambert composed Horoscope, which was designed by Sophie Fedorovich, one of the principal artistic influences on Frederick Ashton. Sophie Fedorovich designed Dante Sonata, one of the few ballets that Ashton made during the war, when he served with the RAF as a volunteer. And Fedorovich also designed Symphonic Variations, Ashton's first ballet for the Royal Opera House in 1946. It is one of his indisputable masterpieces. When Fedorovich died, tragically, accidentally, he wrote, "By her death, I lost not only my dearest friend, but my greatest artistic collaborator. She was the ideal ballet designer." And Constant Lambert died also within the same 2-year period. It was an enormous blow.
Did Constant's death affect you?
Yes, very deeply, very deeply. Well, it seemed to me like a sort of you know, like the ground falling from under one's feet.
It was a period then when you lost Constant Lambert. In a few years you lost Sophie Fedorovich. Yes. Also. Did it affect your work and your life?
Well, I suppose it didn't. Perhaps it gave what the French call the sens tragique to one, I don't know. Probably did. But I was definitely very affected by both of them. It seemed to me a sort of tremendous gap in my life when they went.
How have you filled that?
Well, one never could. That's an impossibility. Different friends, but not the same, of course. You can't replace people. You can adapt yourself to different ones. And of course, since then, I met also lots of interesting, fascinating people as well, of course. But not the deep friendship that there was between us.
Another key artistic collaboration was with Margot Fonteyn, whom he first encountered in 1935. At first, he found her stiff and awkward. Later, her dancing was a revelation. After Markova left the Vic Wells, there was a star role for Margot Fonteyn in almost every new Ashton ballet for more than 20 years. She was seldom less than outstanding, and if Markova was Ashton's first muse, Fonteyn was the second and greater inspiration.
I think we fed each other tremendously, and I mean, I always enjoyed working with her, and I think she enjoyed working with me, and we developed each other, I think, in the course of the thing. I mean, I taught her a great deal, and she also enriched me.
Margot Fonteyn says that her character as a dancer has never been more sympathetically displayed than in the role of Ondine, a water nymph who emerges onto land, discovers her own shadow, and plays with it like a child. This is the shadow dance.
Adore her, and she's a goddess, and as a goddess she's immortal, and she has the proportions of Venus and the mind of Minerva, and a bit of Apollo somewhere around because of her extreme musicality.
Michael Soames is another of the dancers with whom Ashton collaborated gladly and regularly. He partnered Margot Fonteyn for more than 20 years, and now looks after all Ashton's works in the Royal Ballet's repertoire.
Ballet is a language of movement, and one of the things that I most admire about your ballets is the gift from inventing movement that you have, that you never seem to run short of choreographic interest, pure choreographic interest. Where does this enormous talent come from? Where does this gift come from?
I imagine, I don't know, I mean, call it him. I don't know where it comes from. I mean, whether it's a mixture of instinct and alertness when one's working or what. I mean, it's impossible to say. Because when I start off, I don't necessarily know exactly what's going to happen. And one has to be very alive to everything that's going on to take what we call the accident of the theatre. Well, you know.
It's in the rehearsal room that Ashton's genius, his gift for movement, is seen in action. These rehearsals took place in Canada, where young dancers of the National Ballet of Canada were starting to learn the two pigeons, which Ashton choreographed in 1961. All Ashton's choreography should look seamless, effortless. It is one of the characteristics of his style. One of the Royal Ballet's choreologists, Lynn Wallace, and the director of the National Ballet, Alexander Grant, have already taught the whole work to the dancers. Ashton is there to perfect the nuances and the details of the performances. He has spent his whole life observing, inventing, and practicing movement. He sees every detail of what a dancer does.
I've always understood about moving, and this is what I can make dancers do. I can give them this feeling of being blown by the wind, so to speak. You see, you're doing it all up here. Not just there, you see. Try it. Yes, now bring it across here. You see, you're doing it all out here. Bring it there. T, la. That's it, yes, then it has some meaning. Yes, that's it. Quite different. You get yours a little bit more, you see, round. That's it. When she does that at you, when she does this at you, turn your head the other. Interested in that?
In ballet, every gesture, however small, needs to be expressive. A great choreographer looks beyond the steps to the emotions they seek to evoke.
Now you begin to work up. Begin to work up. Begin to work up.
Rush down, right down the front, like mad.
Well, that's better, but twice as much.
Twice as much.
It's because you're treading too soft. It's when you run. That if you run this way, you don't get the same thing. But if you plie and run, you get much more thing. Well, what now? Finished? That's it. It's a good fourth in the back. That's it. You can use your arms on that. That's it. You see, you do it. You don't move Yes,
too.
just do it.
On with your body.
No, but drag this, you see.
I'm taking it.
You're taking it up too quickly. Do it slowly. Right. You see? Extend it. Yes, like a Stardust movement. And these...
Since 1961, Ashton has created 10 major ballets as well as many small-scale works.
More. That's it.
Does he find it possible to remember all the details of a work as old as this?
No, I don't at all, no, because I've done so many ballets, I couldn't possibly in my career stretch it over a long period. And also, I haven't got that kind of memory at all. But I have a different kind of thing that if I see something, even if it's a very old ballet, I know immediately whether it's right or wrong. And I don't necessarily even remember what the step was, but I said, well, that's not it. It's not like that. We must find what was exact again. There. Don't get it there.
Oh, I see.
Keep the line. Keep the line. The basic thing is to get the steps right, of course, like laying the bricks of a house. But what is important, of course, is to convey the intention of the choreographer and with sensitivity and with meaning. Yes, much better. Right. You're dropping it.
Down.
That's it.
From the knee and...
What I set out to do is to make them look their very, very best and to give them the things that will help them to give a good performance. It's a bit bigger then. You know, the rondecham a bit bigger. Yes, that's it. That's it.
A ball of fire.
That's it, all. Tempo, that tempo's perfectly all right.
Dancers don't merely dance the steps. They must possess them and be possessed by them. Otherwise, the story and the characters simply won't emerge. In this case, they have to capture the spirit of a ballet they've never seen and take over steps which were closely modelled on the characteristics of its original cast.
Ninette de Valois once said that you weren't very keen on second casts, on bringing on a replacement cast for the original people with whom you'd worked in creating a ballet. Is that true?
Absolutely, yes. Because I created on the person to such a degree, and the dancers become like putty in my hands, and if I've worked on them, they're the only people I see in the role. And the moment a substitute comes in, it's not the same thing at all, because it's so manufactured on them and tailor-made on them that another personality coming in can disrupt my eye, so to speak.
This is the original cast recording of La Fille Mal Gardée, the final pas de deux danced by Nadia Narina and David Blair. Ashton captures a special spontaneity, an easy joy when he models his choreography on dancers he knows well. The choreography is allowed to reflect every aspect of their characters and gifts, and it sometimes seems that no one else can ever dance it quite so well.
La Fille Malgardée has survived now a great number of casts and has become, I would say, an English classic. It's the classic of the English style, which is also the Ashton style. What is that style and what does it consist of?
Well, I'm not terribly aware of what it consists of. When people talk about it, I don't know. I mean, it's the style that my ballets are in, and I never thought that I was making a style at the time or anything of that sort. I mean, I suppose it's the English have always been great poets, and maybe it's a sort of poetic lyricism which transmutes through them. I don't know. Maybe it's that.
Is it a very single-minded thing when you're actually rehearsing a new ballet? Do you have to put everything else aside for it?
Oh, absolutely, yes, absolutely. I do completely when I'm working on a new ballet. I really don't think of anything else but that. And I come home and I play the music all the time, think of what I've done and what I'm going to do, and I'm sort of, it becomes like an obsession with me for the period that it's going on. It's a trauma. You know, start off to do a ballet is a trauma. You don't know what's going to happen, whether it's going to turn out all right or not. And as your reputation goes, the more alarming it is.
So that it doesn't get easier as you get more experience?
No, it doesn't, because people expect probably more of you, and therefore it becomes more difficult, I think.
Are you frightened the first day you go into a...
Yes, terrified. I leave generally a trail of sick from my house to the rehearsal room.
What, I mean, is that one of the things the dancers can give you, is make you feel more comfortable, more sure that something will emerge?
Yes, not necessarily, I don't know. I mean, when I arrive, I'm like this, and then I gradually calm down, and once I actually start to work, then it's all right, and once the first rehearsal is over, and something has happened, then I can relax. Of course, if you go to the first rehearsal and you come up blocked straight away, that's terrible.
Has that ever happened?
Yes, of course.
Ashton's diffidence has never stopped him experimenting. Ashton hasn't created a major new ballet since 1976, but he regularly supervises revivals and new productions of his works. These rehearsals were rather unusual. Senior students of the Royal Ballet School had learned Sinfonietta, one of the lost ballets, from notes and films. Ashton had seen a run-through, the first time in 10 years that he'd seen the ballet, and he immediately started to make it better.
Bring your body round more. There, you see what I mean? That's it. That's it, now I can see it. That one's all right, but it's this one that gets lost. Well, they did an arabesque up to there instead of being a little bit more there, so one sees it. You see, that's it. Look at the glass, and you can see it for yourself. You see? Now do it the other way, as it shouldn't be. Now look in the glass, you see? Right.
The next thing was the shoulders. When you two split after your first entrance, you wanted more movement.
Yes, more movement with the shoulders. That's it. You see, don't finish it here, but finish right. That's it, right in there again. It's a matter of letting this go. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. That's it. Perfect. Right. What was the other thing?
And then her hand on the arabesque.
Oh yes. Your hand on the arabesque is a bit too rigid. Do your arabesque. See the same here. You're taking tension here, which you mustn't do. That's it. Let this come up. Let that thing come up. You see, if you don't take these fingers up, it immediately gets like a flat iron, you see. Whereas if you try and think of that, you see, then you see the hand as a hand and not as a butter pat.
Your bourrée in the centre. Dee da 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 ya da da. You wanted to put a jump in there.
That's all right, that's fine.
That's it, right?
That's
right.
Your head is better. You're using your head back much better.
Try this one.
Don't be afraid to really exaggerate. Pull here. That's it. Imagine me pulling your bun back every time you take it our best. That's
No,
it.
it's not.
That'll help you.
Ashton's corpus of work, in quantity and quality, entitles him to a place alongside Bournonville, Petipa and Fokine, key figures in the recent history of classical ballet, its founders.
The arms almost stop.
There's something rather touching in finding a man of this eminence working with students, passing on what he can to the next generation. This young dancer is potentially one of the stars of the Royal Ballet during the 1980s. He impressed even the pair of eyes that had seen Pavlova dance. It was also, coincidentally, his solos that Ashton most wanted to improve when he saw them again after such a long period.
Yes, that's what I mean. Too many the same somehow. Wait a minute now. You go first here. That's the first one, is it? And the second one? Well, now the second one, do that one. Then the third one back to that one. And the fourth one back. There are four, are there? Let's see.
Since 1946, Ashton's initial rehearsals, when he creates his choreography, have been closed to all outsiders.
That's it.
It was a considerable privilege to be able to film while he thought about the structure of his work.
Let's see how that would look.
This is how Ashton creates, watching, experimenting, practicing, trying things out.
Better that way, yes. Don't take it too high, though, you see. Take it to there, don't get up there. Right? What else? Doesn't he do a lot of those? It seems to me that he's endless.
He does one lot and then he goes off and then he does another lot. But it's only that
and
one
the
where
second
he
time,
has
what
to
do you do
nervous.
then? Well, what about something here, for instance?
With the arms down.
And there, for a change. No. And then there. I mean, more this way. Try that and see what that looks like. That's it. No, then the second time here, you see. Back. That's it. And actually use them. See? Let's try that. And no, back first. That's it. Yes, at the end, though, you see. That's it, at the end. So as you're doing that there,
Turns, yeah.
as you land, the hands also go. That's it. Now lift them a little bit higher at the back. No, easy. Don't make it awkward.
Ashton is patient, gentle, and sympathetic with his dancers.
There.
It seems to me that you love to be with dancers.
Oh, yes, I adore it. I love dancers. I think they're wonderful people, and they're full of humour and hard-working and dedicated, and I think they're absolutely extraordinary people. With the head. That's it.
Is there any other way you would want to have spent your life?
Other than dancing? I think not, no. It's rather wonderful to be satisfied with what one did, and I'm actually more so because I had such difficulty in getting there. And having had that a year and a half in the city and all that, I mean, has made me tremendously appreciative of my luck, really. And to do what one wants to and to be able to make a living at it is a heaping up of joys.
Bring up the retiers. More precise.
Yes.
Stop.
Right, stop.
If that could be more high, you're getting, it's a bit too, you see, really punctuated. Not you only, I mean all of you.
Once again. Let's go back to the beginning again. And.
Drop.